Hey guys, we are back due to some technical issues. Yes, so we actually need to stop the session, but we are back once again. So we were talking about the Victoria nomination, the targeted sector, and a couple of examples which we are going to talk today as well. Saurabh, please.
Exactly. Yeah. So most importantly, apologies to our viewers if you were actually watching our live and you missed out. So we didn't actually discuss anything that important as of now. So pretty much now we will quickly discuss everything, and we would like to keep this a very brief session as well, like maximum 20 minutes and so. So if you do, we would request our viewers to please leave your questions and answer questions here, and any comments that you would like to make in regards to the Victoria State nomination, employer sponsor visa, or any Australian migration information. We will try to answer those questions for you as well. And yeah, so starting with Victoria's, and yes, most importantly, my name is Saurabh Samar. I'm a registered migration agent, and we have Ankur Saini as well with us. And so we are from Global Vision Migration, and today we are doing this live session with the assistance of MelbourneMAMA and Xcel Global Australia. You can actually look us up online as well. We are always available, and also we do have a TikTok channel. So if you do like to watch some videos, we have very informative videos there as well. Without wasting any more time, let's begin. So today we're quickly going to have a discussion about Victoria State updates. So there is no such big update. It's just that we had a meeting with Victoria State nomination a couple of days ago, and we figured out some more information that was quite important to a lot of viewers as well. So that's why we thought, like, it's best to actually bring that information out to our wider audience, so that all the migrants or aspiring migrants can make some informed decisions in the due course. So most importantly, what Victoria has actually advised us that in the health sector as well, there's going to be different occupations, etc. So those occupations, such as a speech pathologist and social workers, do also fall under the same category. But individual circumstances could be different for every person. So I would request you all, before making any informed decisions, seek any professional advice as well. And this video is only for education purpose. In regards to your personal matters, make sure you do discuss your case with your registered migration agent or any other professional in regards to that. Yeah.
Well, I would like to give you an example. So I think that'll be easy for our viewers to understand through the examples. Specifically, I'm going to talk about two occupations. We already talked about these two occupations before your meeting with Victoria State Department, right? Now I'm going to put both these two occupations so you can give us the input or output which you received.
Absolutely.
Accountants, right? Previously, because of these targeted sector, there were like a few our colleagues, they actually said that yes, accountants are even eligible for those targeted sectors, which they assumed correctly. But in what circumstances, Saurabh?
That's the thing. So pretty much, Victoria has clearly said, because as you know, accountant studies are business and commerce studies, and they don't actually fall under STEM qualifications. So what does the Victoria said is that if you are an accountant and you are planning on applying for Victoria State nomination, what you can do is you can actually use, if you have a dual degree, if you have an extra qualification as a bachelor's of econometrics, or if you have studied econometrics, masters or anything, statistics, mathematics, then you do fall under STEM qualification base, because STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine. So you can use those STEM qualifications to be eligible, to be able to apply for the state nomination, if provided you are working in one of the 7 target sectors. So that is another way where accountants having dual qualification would be able to apply for the state nomination as well. Yep.
The other occupation, which is chef, right? And people are actually coming up with the sort of theory that if I'm working in a hospital or if I'm working in an aged care, so what are my chances when it comes to Victoria State nomination?
Exactly. So we have actually received a lot of information about. We have a lot of inquiries in relation to accountants currently working in aged care, medical sector, and stuff. So the advice goes same to all of them. The thing is, if you are an accountant, how are you utilizing your STEM skills or qualification? That is actually very important as well. And specifically if there are different occupations, but as you know, software engineers obviously they use the IT qualification, which is technology that falls under STEM as well. And different engineer working in a hospital environment, or probably they are, it's a different way to actually utilize. You probably might not fall under one sector but might fall under different sector. So that is important as well, choosing the right sector, such as, say for example, a food technologist does not fall under any of the sector, but it could fall under life sciences as well. So and you sector, probably the food technologist could be working in a laboratory in a hospital or somewhere, checking all those kind of different work that they usually do. And then they'll probably be eligible under different sectors. So pretty much I think people might make a mistake in choosing the wrong target sectors as well.
Well, yes, they are actually making
Yeah.
this mistake because, as you know, that you keep receiving the calls, and
Yes.
first of all, they are actually most of the applicants they are making a mistake. They are not understanding that which target sector their responsibilities and duties are actually affiliated
Exactly.
to,
So
right?
that is important thing. People, if you are not sure what sector you're going to apply under, and then you choose the wrong sector, obviously there is a chance where you might be able to not be able to apply for that state nomination at all. And then if that's the case, you might lose on to getting the state nomination, because as you know, that's the golden opportunity at this point of time, where you as an aspiring migrant, Victoria is actually a really good place currently. And in terms of health sectors, pretty much Victoria government also lies with their another department, which is Victorian Department of Health. And based on their advice, they choose how and what kind of nurses they're going to need. And obviously, another sad news for enrolled nurses, currently they do not fall under that category yet. So they only have few listed categories for nurses, such as registered nurses in aged care, critical sector, and midwives, and all those kind of the one that's displayed on their website. So only those nurses are currently being selected for the Victoria State nomination. Critical sector and midwives and all those kind of the one that.
So, what about the registered nurse, not elsewhere classified? What's their future?
I would say if you are a registered nurse and you are currently, say, working, I would, because if those nurses, any nurse, when they're registered, they can get a skill assessment as an NEC. But if they work in a hospital environment, or if they work in an aged care for at least 3 months, they can get a skill assessment as an aged care. They can get a skill assessment as a. They can. I would request them to change their skill assessment, works in a sector that's actually quite important, and then apply for the state nomination.
So this information for a majority of the nurses, those who are still holding their skills assessment as NEC, registered nurse NEC, but working in critical sectors,
Yeah.
is actually highly recommended to change your skills assessment into that particular field. And then, yes, you'll open your door for Victoria 190 for sure. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, and then pretty much for if we talk about IT sector, they have said that they are currently taking care of cyber security as well. In that sector, they're only going to be invited, but those advice might probably change maybe in 3 to 6 months time. If they think that they already had nominated enough people, then they might look into different sector as well. Like they might expand that sector, that digital sector as well. And last year they almost nominated around 43% people in the health sector. So that is one important thing.
That is huge. For an example, okay, a software engineer, right, is working with this COVID-19 situation, and they are actually developing a sort of application through which government is gathering the data, analyzing that data for vaccination purposes.
Yeah, so exactly, that's what Victoria said. This is a very competitive process, and they would only be selecting people who have actually what is that called, a very exceptional talent. How they're using their talent and their skills and experience qualifications to work in Victoria to bring that change that Victoria needs. So that is important as well. A lot of people, and if they think that there are two profiles which are actually quite equivalent, then they probably would choose the one with the higher skill select points, which is something new from Victoria, because they don't really normally care about the points much, but they have clearly advised that if you have like equivalent ROIs, but the one with the highest, and then the profile, like the both fall at the same level, the one with the highest points would get the nomination.
What if the software engineer who's actually working in a normal IT firm, but a software engineer who's having less points, but working with a hospital or something like into the health sector?
Exactly. So that is important. If your profile, if that software engineer's profile is quite exceptional, the kind of skills or they have utilized in the kind of work they are doing, and so people can show that with a different ways as well, like the kind of project that they are running, and previously projects that they have already run, and based on that they'll probably be able to get Victorian ROI.
If you really wanted to pen down your ROI, right, you need to understand that how your talent is actually making a difference in Victoria economy,
Exactly.
right?
So that's very important, because Victoria will be very focused on exceptional talent, because obviously anyone can study their qualification, but what's hard is to get a job, a proper job in that field, and how you can actually explain to them why they should give you the nomination because of you, just because you have the skill assessment, etc. Then you have to show that, look, I do have a skill assessment, but I do have an exceptional talent. I have run numerous projects and stuff. So that is something we can discuss in detail in a later time. Feel free to give us a call, and then we can take it from there. So our details are listed on our Facebook pages as well. Feel free to search us up, and then you might be able to get our details. Moving forward, we will also talk about the recent 189 and 491 family sponsored invitation round that happened. So a lot of people actually received invitations for 491 family sponsored. There was a lot of IT people as well as engineers as well. As low as 85 points. Even chefs received 491 family sponsored invitation at 75 to 80 points, including 15 points from their family member. Just to let everyone know that 491 family sponsored can only be applied if you have a family member who's actually living in the designated area, a closely related family member, or a first cousin, first relative is fine, and you will get extra 15 points in your skill select points. Your skill assessment and your PT score must be valid at the time of invitation as well. And if you do have received an invitation and you would need assistance in applying for that visa application as well, feel free to give us a call. The numbers are listed on our Facebook pages. You can look us up. And yeah, and anything else that you would like to add for in regards to the invitation round?
Yeah, one question I would like to ask you, but because this invitation round for 491 family stream, that was quite sudden, right? A lot of applicants received their invitations.
Yeah.
Out of those, I am assuming that majority of the people, like 35% people, they are not meeting the criteria for their PD exam. Some lost their like skills assessment.
Exactly.
And different criteria, right? What their options?
Exactly. So a lot of people, we have been contacted by so many people since the invitations have happened, that some of them, their PT test has expired, and they do not have a valid PT test, and their skill assessments has expired as well. So obviously, you must have a valid skill assessment at the time of, what's it called? Invitation. At the time of your invitation, your skill assessment must be valid. Your PT score must be valid as well. So what does it mean for you is that if you are one of those person and you don't have those valid documents, obviously you are not actually be eligible to apply for the this invitation round, because you not meeting the requirements, probably the application going to get refused. What I would say is get those documents ready. If you haven't got the PT, book your PT test, get the skill assessment, renew that skill assessment, and reapply. Hopefully, in the next invitation round, that's going to happen 4 months from now. That's why we've been telling every client and in our live sessions, make sure that your PT and your skill assessments are valid. Because if they are already expired and stuff, then you might not be able to apply for the state nomination at all, or any general skill migration. So those things are very important. And unfortunately, they would have to let go of this EOI in this time. Probably next time they might be able to apply for the other.
One interesting question. We just received a query a while ago. And the query was that one of the guy who received 491 invitation through
Mm-hmm.
Western Australia,
Mm-hmm.
but during the course of those 14 days, right, he needs
Mm-hmm.
to show that he's working or he will be having a sort of future offer letter. But this guy is not having a future offer letter. So how to deal with these sort of situations?
Yeah, so that is important thing as well with Western Australia, because they obviously will be inviting people with the highest points as well. And if you have received an invitation from them, then what you can do is you probably be able to, they will gonna give you 28 days to apply for the state nomination. And in that 28-day period, you will need to organize a job offer. So if you, I would say lodge your EOI and then start applying for the jobs. If you think you have highest points, and then you have a chance of receiving a state nomination invitation as well. And I think state Western Australia also know that as well, that they're going to invite a lot of people, but they know that not everyone will be able to get a job offer. So not every nomination would get approved. And
So
not
in very simple words, if you know that yes, you're actually a skilled applicant for Western Australia, lodge your expression of interest already. Start apply for your jobs from that day onwards, because you never know if you'll be receiving an invitation, not having job offer.
yeah,
That's
that, and
null
because
and void.
yeah, because you get 28 days, you know what I mean? So in that 28-day period is your best shot at getting the job offer. Keep applying for jobs, look different ways, you know, if you have to hire a recruitment consultant, go for that as well. See if you can anyway can get a job, etc. Because it's very important. If you get a job offer, you probably be able to get the nomination and maybe 190 direct PR.
And for applicants, those who actually received
Mm.
their invitations,
Mm.
but they're Section 48 barred.
Yeah, that's the thing. Western Australia is not going to nominate people if you are Section 48 bar. Even though, because you can still lodge your EOI, and obviously through the EOI, no one can know whether you are Section 48 bar or not. But when you are applying for the state nomination, the question will be there that if are you Section 48 bar, and obviously then you can't actually apply for it. So that is very important. A lot of states are not going to nominate Section 48 bar people. And so Section 48 bar, if you are actually currently working in your own field, the best course of action for you will be look for employer sponsored visas. So chef, if you are a chef, that's what we're going to discuss. We're going to quickly touch base on the employer sponsored visa in the next couple of minutes, and then we'll call it off. So employer sponsored visas such as a plus 482 or 186. So 186 is an employer nomination scheme. It's a direct entry, direct PR. You need to have at least 3 years of work experience, skill assessment, and a competent English. Either it's in IELTS or PTE. So that is equivalent to a 6 each in IELTS or 50, I think, in PTE. And then you probably be, and your occupation must be in the MLT SSL list to be eligible for a 186 direct entry. Chefs are actually MLT SSL list, chefs, accountants, and other engineers as well. And chefs and accountants are currently in the PMSOL list. What does it mean for you is that, say, for example, if you are a Section 48 bar and you are a chef and you have been working for your restaurant owner from last 3 years or so, you have skill assessment, and you could be eligible for your employer nomination scheme 186 as well. So the best course of action for you will be is to either apply for this visa, you can leave the country, and then apply for the visa while you are overseas. Get the nomination approved, and then apply, go overseas, apply for the visa. And then because your occupation is in the priority migration skilled occupation list, you might be able to come back on a, or you might be able to be eligible for travel exemption. Exactly, because you've been sponsored by an Australian employer in an occupation listed in the priority migration skilled occupation list. So that is important. This is something that you can actually take. Plus, if you are an accountant, you can look into those options as well. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's all from my end.
Well, that's all from my end as well.
Yeah.
So the only thing which we can say is Friday night.
Yeah, and we just quickly answer some of the questions. I think people have left us some comments. So Veerpal Kaur, she's saying that after final invitation of 491 family sponsorship, how long we can get visa? How long? I think she's asking for a processing times. So it's all depending upon Veerpal. It's all depending upon the your occupation as well, etc. Currently, the priority occupation lists are actually being prioritized, as we can see. Chefs are currently being. So with 491 family sponsored, you probably might be able to get the visa approved. The maximum time is I think around 12 months or so, but I would say in like 4 to 12 months period,
Yeah.
probably quicker as well if you have police clearances and everything. So let's talk about Ashok Yadav.
Ashok Yadav. He is asking 85 points, including state, working as ICT security specialist in 1 year. What are the chances for 190 and how much time it will take? Probably.
Yeah, so Victoria, most important thing, another update, that Victoria will start nominating people, start selecting ROIs from the month of August. So Ashok, if you think you have a good profile and you're working as an ICT security specialist, most importantly, it's not just working in that sector, it's also about how exactly, what kind of, what exceptionally work you are doing. Because there are thousands of people working in that sector as
Yeah.
well. You need to show how exceptionally talented you are. Elisa, Christine.
Let's for offshore applicants, any chances now? 85 plus 5 points.
Elisa, so currently most of the states are only nominating people currently in Australia right now, but South Australia has started an offshore list as well where they would be nominating people from overseas. So let's hope you can check your occupation there in their website, see if you're eligible for that as well or not.
Amna Khan, I am enrolled nurse working in regional Victoria. It's been 6 months. I'm working in regional Victoria. What are the options for me? 9 each in PDE and have skills assessment. Please advise me. I'm on student visa, advanced diploma of management, which will expire in November 2021.
So Amna, look, you pretty much you probably might be able to have pretty much few options available, such as a subclass 408 after November 21. You could be eligible for those, but the thing is, Victoria has clearly said if you are an enrolled nurse, unfortunately not eligible at the moment. Only few nurses are actually eligible. That's been listed on their website. So I would say if you have been working if you are an enrolled nurse and you have at least 3 years of work experience, obviously all the experience will be after your diploma, and if you have 3 years experience, etc., you could also be eligible for employer-sponsored visas such as subclass 494. And if you are in regional aged care, they can sponsor you. They can sponsor you for 494. So look into those options as well. You can feel free to send us a message, and we might be able to see what we can do. Faiz Khan. So, hi sir. Do we need to move to regional Victoria or stay in Melbourne, as my partner is registered midwife in Indonesia and we are planning to get registered here in Melbourne for PR. So Faiz, if your wife is not in currently in Australia, probably she might not be eligible for Victoria State nomination, as they say that the person must be working in Victoria. Doesn't matter how many hours they are doing, casual employment is acceptable as well. And if you are working in regional, then you could also be eligible for 491 as well. And for 190, you could be living anywhere. So that is the thing. Any other? I think that's pretty much all. No other questions at all. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all. It's all Friday now. We can everyone can just chill and have a nice weekend, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Saurabh Samar. I'm a registered migration agent. My migration agent registration number is 1802044. So Faiz Khan is saying that she's in Melbourne right now. Yeah, so if she get registration as an APRA and get a skill assessment as midwife as well, continue to work as a midwife, get any job, then obviously she could be eligible for 190 state nomination as well. We need to see how many points she's sitting at Faiz. And also, if someone is working as a nurse, etc., obviously, if someone's working directly for the nursing agency, nursing homes or hospital, they could also be eligible for the state nomination. Those will be prioritized actually by Victoria, not the people currently working through an agency. So that is also another hot tip.
Right. So the session is finished with the hot tip, and it's time for us to say bye-bye.
Okay.
And thanks to TikTok star as well.
No worries.
If you wish, you can follow him on TikTok.
Yeah,
and then,
you can just follow us on TikTok as well and go and check our videos there. Any questions or anything, feel free to leave us a comment and we will try our best to answer for you. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good one.